Jason Swain, touchdown.
It's time for the Swain Event with your host, Jason Swain.
My man.
Real sports talk for the real sports fan.
All you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him.
It's time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
Get into his house and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. August the 13th, Tuesday, 2024. About 4 minutes past the top of the hour. Ben McKee, Go Balls 247. I'm Jason Swain, live in the Low T Center studio. We got Ben McKee, stationary. That means no practice today. Well, in this case, no viewing of stretching for you, Ben. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Feels good to be stationary, at least temporarily. It is going to be a busy day on the content front. Excited for what is to come today and what I have coming down the pike. So going to be a fun day. Christian Moore making his way over to Chattanooga to play the Lookouts. I'm going to head down there and link up with Simo. So excited for that. And there will be some other things along the way today. So glad that I'm stationary. I hate that tomorrow is the last practice viewing. Although I hate it and I don't hate it. I wish that they would give us access to all practice or none of it. I don't think it does Tennessee any good to open up practice for 7 minutes and allow us to watch them stretch and throw routes on airs for 3 minutes for one period of a 20-something period practice. I think that opens the door for people like myself who are not very smart to overreact to things that don't need to overreact to. So either open up the entire practice or don't open it up at all. And hopefully one day we reach a point to where it's NFL training camp style. They want to be treated like professionals these days. I say we do treat them like professionals. So hopefully it'll open up one day to where it is completely open to the media and maybe even fans as well. That's a big part of training camp for NFL teams as well, that fans get to come and see the team and whatnot. And I think that would only, if you're a good football team, I think that would only be a good thing for you, because then you don't have a lot of speculation. Then if people are smart, then they have actual evidence that they can go off of and not just speculate the whole time. But glad to be stationary. I'm doing well. Sorry for my rant. I did not mean to start on a rant. Happy belated heavenly birthday to my granddaddy. He would have been 80 yesterday. So miss him, love him every single day. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
I'm good, man. I'm good. The air is crisp outside. 62 degrees when I checked this morning. That means it's football weather. It's fall. And there's a scrimmage taking place on Thursday morning. There was one last Friday where the defense, quite frankly, dominated that scrimmage. And how many times have we talked about a scrimmage, whether it was in spring or fall, and the first scrimmage was won by the defense? That's just kind of how it goes. But this was a little bit different. This was a scrimmage where I don't know if the offense gained a yard on the ground. There were some big play opportunities down the football field. Nico had a Chaz Nimrod, wide open, and probably some miscommunication on. I don't know if there's miscommunication, but they just didn't complete the pass. It was Chaz running out a little real estate. That catch would have been the back of the end zone, and Chaz would have had to drag 1 foot in. So it was out of his reach a little bit, but it was a beautiful ball. Chaz ran a good route, was wide open. But there was few opportunities to hit big plays down the football field. Ethan Davis had a touchdown up the seam, but it was called back. Really hard to tell who really stood out at running back, because wasn't a lot of holes because of that.
Not if you ask Josh Heupel.
Huh?
Not if you ask Josh Heupel. He was first person he mentioned was Deshaun Bishop.
Deshaun has some wiggle. Deshaun looked the best out of all the backs, but like 2 years ago when I went to scrimmage and saw Dylan Sampson rip off 40 and 50-yard runs, 10-yard runs, making guys miss, it was not that type of scrimmage for any running back. But Deshaun Bishop did look the best. Peyton Lewis has the opportunity to be really good, man. He's built like an NFL back, that's for sure. And the defensive line again, man, they were a problem. They were a big problem.
Yeah, and to quickly interrupt you, I mean, those last two things that you hit on, Deshaun Bishop, that I did bring up, and then the offensive or the defensive line, they that should have happened. Like Deshaun Bishop should have been the quote unquote best back in that scrimmage. Dylan Sampson was not scrimmaging. Cam Seldon was not scrimmaging. That leaves himself, a true freshman Peyton Lewis, and a Khalifa Keith that he is ahead of on the depth chart. So Deshaun Bishop should have looked like the best running back. And I don't say that to diminish Deshaun. We have had a recent conversation about how we believe that Deshaun is going to be able to contribute in a real way. I think both of us are fairly high on Deshaun if he's thrown in there and have a certain level of confidence that he can make a play. I think he's going to be able to help Tennessee. And the defensive line should be ahead of the offensive line. They're better. We talked about this last Thursday morning when I was out in front of TBA at FCC that like the defensive line should dominate the offensive line. They're better, they're deeper, they have more experience, and on top of that, you were missing several offensive linemen: John Campbell, Andre Carrick, Lance Hurd. Surprisingly, Cooper Mays and Javonte Spraggins, the two that need to be in bubble wrap, because of Cooper's injury history and his importance to this offense. Spraggins coming off of an MCL injury that required surgery in the offseason. I mean, the two guys that needed to be in bubble wrap the most were the ones that were out there for at least a couple of plays. So the defensive line should have done that. But you do walk away continuing to hear great things about Josh Josephs. And I think he's, to me, Swain, without giving it a ton of thought, I will admit. But, I mean, he might be the next Jalen Hyatt, Jalen Wright. Like, we've had each year a guy that disappointed the year prior, recognized that he needed to change the way he was going about doing things, had a great offseason, and then parlayed that into a breakout season that earned them some money. And I think Joshua Josephs would be the leader in the clubhouse to fit that category right now.
Yeah, Hyatt disappointed, and then Joseph disappointed. I don't know Jalen Wright disappointed.
Fair.
In 22.
I didn't. Yeah, you're right. I know I said that. I didn't. I know that Wright's circumstances were different.
Yeah. But he did turn it up another notch. Took it to another level, and was at times the best player on the field. At times. Wasn't better than James Pierce for the entire season, but at times, especially in that Georgia game, looked like he was the best player on the field with his speed and explosiveness. But that Kentucky game is another game where you can tell that Jalen Wright was a pro player. It's kind of like watching Christian Moore bat during the College World Series. Like, Christian Moore proved that he was a professional hitter his senior year in college. Well, Jalen Wright was a professional running back his last year at Tennessee. The running back situation is one to monitor. I never really expected and wanted to see Dylan Sampson out there a lot. I do think it's important to have Nico, your first-year quarterback. It's important to have his center, like his starting center, to be out there during the scrimmage. Like, you don't want to put the second-team offensive line against the first-team defensive line, Nico, with the running back competition, and then you got your receivers on the outside trying to work on their timing and stuff like that too. Like, that's tough, man. So it was important for Spraggins and Cooper to participate, in my opinion. But Tennessee was smart. They took Cooper out, put in Vice and Lane. at center during part of the scrimmage. I found myself highly annoyed during the scrimmage and upset because the offense wasn't making plays, and Jonathan Wade was harassing me during the scrimmage and teasing me during the scrimmage and texting me. And at one point, he was on the defensive side of the field on the opposite sideline. At one point, walked all the way over to the other side to ask me if I was okay. And I didn't appreciate it. And so the trash talk that we used to go back and forth with as players never really stopped on Friday. So, but I knew offensively we were going to be behind the defense. It just kind of happens. But Brew didn't go. I didn't see Brazel. I didn't see Thornton. It was more like Caleb Webb and Chaz. I think Squirrel was out there a little bit. You just didn't have a lot of guys going. Defensively, Kenny Peely didn't go. They were off on the side running with Brew and others. So first scrimmage, maybe we see more guys out there Thursday. If not, oh well. Heupel and company have an understanding of what they're doing. They trust who they trust, and that's cool. But the biggest question from scrimmage, the biggest talking point, is the defensive backfield and who is in position to start at safety, and that is Will Brooks. Will Brooks.
Yes, it is, and I would throw the star position in there. I would not hand Boo Carter the job just yet. I think Boo needs to mature rather quickly and handle his day-to-day responsibilities in a more mature fashion in order to continue to gain the trust of the coaching staff. And as a result, you saw Christian Harrison start at that star position in the scrimmage. So you had two unlikely guys, Swain, not just Will Brooks, but also Christian Harrison there. I'm
not surprised by Christian Harrison, though.
I'm not as surprised, but the reason that I'm bringing it up is because everybody, the moment Jordan Thomas, it came out that he was out for the season, handed the job to Boo Carter. And I'm not saying that Boo won't be the starter against UTC or NC State, but I think it's far from a done deal. I think that is a legitimate competition because Christian Harrison is a veteran player. He knows where to be, what to do in the secondary, and Boo is a true freshman that needs to mature a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was on this show or a different show, but when Jordan Thomas went out, I mentioned Christian Harrison not because he was slated as a star position player, but he was actually working at safety. But he had started his career at corner. I think it was this show. Because I explained with Jonathan Hefney and Antoine Stewart, Jason Allen, guys that had played corner but then moved to safety during their careers. When Inky got hurt, we were able to put one of those guys at corner to replace Inky because they cross-trained early in their career. It was this show. Because trust me, I had some time to lay it out, Ben, if you know what I'm talking about. So not surprised Christian Harrison is in a position to be a star player because of his background at corner. And that's the most difficult defensive position on the field, is playing in the slot versus a wide receiver. When you are recruited to come in and you're told that you have opportunity to contribute early, you think, oh, I'm gonna be the guy, I'm gonna be the starter. And then you add on the fact that all these guys are getting NIL deals. Sometimes you kind of forget or lose sight that you still have to prove that you can be trusted, especially as a freshman or first-time player. I'm speaking about all the transfers in their first year and all the first-year players from high school. Dabo would call them high school players from the transfer portal. But you've only been practicing 2 weeks, if that. You haven't hit your second scrimmage yet. You have to prove that you can be trusted. It doesn't matter how good you are. There's going to be a time and place when you're going to play, when you're going to start. And there's plenty of time. There's tomorrow, there's Thursday scrimmage, there's next week. You still have time to get the starting position or get more playing time. We thought last year that Andre Turntime was going to start over Jalen McCullough. He was running with the ones. He looked better. He looked more athletic. But when it came down to the games, Ben, Jalen McCullough was out there. He was out there. He was out there starting. Why? Because he was trusted by Tim Banks. He was trusted by William Martinez. And so that's why Will Brooks is in the position that he's in right now.
Yep.
Christian Charles, Jacoby Thomas, Boo Carter. You got to just stay the course. You have to be consistent. If you're showing Jalen McMurray, all these newcomers, and I've been there before, don't let your frustration show to the point where you look like it's affecting your game and your focus. So, like my freshman year, I was frustrated because I was hurt with a strain growing. And so that affected my physical abilities to be able to open up and run and cut, things like that. But I didn't have mental errors because I was frustrated. To give you an example of what I'm talking about, when you get really upset, sometimes you say things you don't mean. Sometimes you do things you don't mean. And sometimes you get so upset, it's like you black out. Like you don't know what you're saying. You don't know what you just blacked out. You so upset because you're so emotional. Well, if you're a football player and you get so upset and so distraught, how you going to carry out your responsibilities? How you going to be locked in and focused? How you going to be able to recover and bounce back if you give up a play? What if there's a bad call on you? What if it's third down and 2 and you tackle the guy? The referee calls face mask. You didn't grab his face mask, but the call is not being reversed. It's first down and 10. Are you going to be able to bounce back and carry out your responsibilities and stop a long pass from occurring? Can you do that? These are the tests that you're being put through during fall camp, first-year players. And it's not just defense, it's offense too. That's what fall camp is about. It's about a physical test, a mental test, so the coaches can know if they can trust you during the regular season.
I completely agree. I want to run through a couple of text box messages.
Please.
That will lead us back into our secondary conversation because I have a point that I want to make off of Nelson from Jackson's comment that I will get to here in just a moment. But I want to start from the jump. Nealon Mafia was in here before we started the show, which you always love to see. 7:59 a.m. Eastern time. Morning. Talk to me about left guard. All the left guard updates. Let's go. Left guard commentary. Let's go. You would like for it to be Andre Carrick, and Andre Carrick was positioned to be the guy heading into camp, but he just cannot stay healthy. He's not practicing, or if he is, he's not doing it consistently. He has been out there inconsistently as a participant in practice. Just mentioned that he did not participate in the scrimmage. Like that's got to change if he is going to be the starting left guard. I mean, to the commentary, it's that simple. Is that Andre Carrick was in the pole position coming into fall camp, but he can't stay healthy, and he can't continue to remain out there on the practice field. And if you're not practicing, you're not going to play. So it pretty much boils down to that at left guard. Seems like it would be Jackson Lampley if not Andre Carrick. I did want to congratulate Riley Vall. He posted on the text box. Got some good news. Miss Riley Vall will be having her first in the spring of 25. So congratulations to Riley Vall and his crew. Very, very happy for you and your family. There is no better feeling. You think it's going to be a great feeling, but it even surpasses the expectation. So we'll be thinking of you and hoping for a healthy pregnancy for for Mrs. Riley Vall. K-Dog said, "Good morning, gentlemen. I'm getting that football itch. I am too. I am too. The preseason games over the weekend, Swain, and
That's
then
just
you
poison
pop
ivy.
out. What's that?
That's just poison ivy, or maybe something else. But
Well, it gave me the football itch. Got me excited to watch some real deal games here in a couple of weeks. And then Sunday morning, I mean, it's still August in the South, but Sunday morning was a little cool. There was a little fall vibe to Sunday morning's practice, so that gave me the itch as well. Real D from the 423 says we're Brian Maurer days away from it being football time in Tennessee.
you better shut your damn mouth.
Yeah, I view it as
What
more
number?
of
What number do you wear?
18.
Oh, we're Naja Warrior days, Dale Carter days, Jason Allen days, Jason Kroom days. There are other 18s that we will
Yes,
point to.
yes, there are. Double J says I'll be looking for you in Chattanooga tonight, Ben. I'll be the one in orange. I'm sure a lot of you will be the one in orange, but Double J, if you see me, make sure you stop me and say hello. Would love to
I didn't get no invite.
meet you and introduce yourself.
I didn't
But
get
I
an
wanted to
invite.
get what's that?
I said I didn't get an invite to go.
Come on.
I didn't get an invite.
You shouldn't need an invite. You should have had this pre-planned. You should have been looking at the schedule yourself. I told you like a week ago that he was coming to Chattanooga during this time frame. So you had it on your radar. You just chose to forget about it because he's a baseball player, not a football player.
No, I want to see him at home. I want to go to Huntsville and watch him play.
Well, I've got news for you. I don't think he's going to make it back to Huntsville.
I don't think he is either. It's going to be like the end of the
I
month.
would be a little surprised. Friday, the 16th, is the day to watch for Christian Moore. On Friday, the Angels can call up Christian Moore and still preserve his rookie status for next season. So this weekend is kind of a weekend to keep an eye out for, especially so the Lookouts play the Trash Pandas today. They have a doubleheader tomorrow on Wednesday, and they still play Thursday and Friday. If Simo has a nice week, I really do believe, like he's already positioned himself to get called up, obviously, but knowing that this weekend has this aura to it of being able to preserve his rookie status for next season, if he follows up what he's already done with another great week, then I absolutely think he'll get called up this weekend. And not only does it preserve his rookie status, but the Angels, they've done this a lot the last couple of years. They did it last year with one of their draft picks in a similar situation to Simo, to where once this date passed, they called him up. Zach Neto, who Simo played against the 22 team when Campbell came to Knoxville for the Knoxville Regional. He was drafted in the first round by the Angels and got called up quickly as well. So it's the Angels' MO to call guys up quickly and skip AAA. And you pair that with what Simo's doing with what Friday means in terms of being able to preserve his rookie status for next year. I really could see him being called up this weekend. But I wanted to get back to our conversation about, and Double J is offering you a ticket into the night's game, Swain. So I'm sure you're booked all of a sudden, but you got a way to get down there. You got a way to get down there. But I wanted to get back to our secondary conversation with Nelson from Jackson and the point that I wanted to make going off of what you were talking about in the secondary. Nelson from Jackson asks, is John Slaughter just not ready yet? I haven't heard his name mentioned at all at safety. It doesn't seem like he is ready yet as a second-year player, which I do think it's fair to ask the question, why is he not ready? I mean, I think it's fair to start expecting guys, and I realize everybody develops differently and at their own pace. I recognize that, but like year 2, year 3, you should start being firmly in the mix to get out on the football field.
He's in the mix. He's just not, better than.
I hear you. I'm not saying that like he's not going to get on the field at all, but the main point that I wanted to get to is like Will Brooks deserves to play because he's put in the work. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He's not your average walk-on.
Okay.
But he is still a walk-on. And in year 4, your defensive backfield should not be situated to where you are having to play a walk-on by default. In year 4, you should have a multitude of scholarship players that you have recruited, that you have developed, ready to play. And that is not the situation at safety. They still 4 years in do not have a high school talent that they have recruited, that they have developed, other than Will Brooks. And I believe that Will Brooks joined the program when Pruitt was still in charge in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, or that was his senior year of high school, and then maybe once Hype got the job, that's when he elected to come to Tennessee. But I it's not anything against Will Brooks. I think Will Brooks has earned the right to playing time. But on the other side of the coin, I do think it's also fair to point out that Tennessee should not be in position to where they have not gotten any of their high school safeties that they have recruited ready enough to play by year 4. That's not a good look.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, you look at everyone that's in contention, 1 and 2 deep. You look at Jermon McCoy, who's a transfer. You look at Andre Turntime, who's a transfer. You look at Jacoby Thomas, who's a transfer. Will Brooks, you mentioned him as a walk-on. Ricky Gibson is a corner, but he was recruited by the staff. So that's not safety; it's a corner. Jordan Thomas hurt, but he was recruited by the staff. But safety, John Slaughter, who's in the mix. He's a second team somewhere around there. He's not ready to be the starter. And is he behind Turntine or is he behind Will Brooks? And then you have Jalen McMurray, who's a transfer. So yeah, like you would want the situation to be a little bit better when you enter your 4th season as a staff. You would like to have a player from one of your recruiting classes in that spot. Like you look around other positions, and you can say that about other positions. Even though you've brought in transfers, you can still say that a little bit more about that position than safety. But man, you just got to make sure that you have production. And we're gonna see, is it Will Brooks has elevated his game so much that he's not your normal walk-on, and he just got that much better? Is he Baker Mayfield? Is he Stetson Bennett? Is he one of those guys? We'll find out. Or is he in that position as starter because the scholarship players have just really dropped the ball and it's not been that good? Like, we'll find out NC State game.
We will. And I think it's probably a little bit of both. I just from the outside looking in and just 2 weeks through fall camp. And we'll see what happens, because Willie Martinez spoke to the media yesterday and he was asked, like, hey, when did you first realize that Will Brooks can help you more than just on special teams? And he said that when he started to make plays in space on special teams. So Willie Martinez seems to believe that Will Brooks is, to your question that you just posed, based off of what Willie Martinez was saying, and I realize he's speaking to the media, it's going to be a little fluff involved. He's not going to really say anything negative, but he seems to believe that Will Brooks can really make plays on the defensive side. Now, I do think the reason that Will Brooks is getting on the field first and foremost is his leadership skills, which is important at the safety position, and also his ability to line everybody up. I mean, he knows the ins and outs. Very important, especially, again, he exemplifies all of the qualities that you want from a safety in terms of leadership, defensive alignment. I mean, I know we like to think of it being the linebacker that's the quarterback of the defense, but in some instances it can be the safety as well. And Will Brooks kind of fits that mold. And one of the old football adages that we love to talk about are guys that know every single position on their side of the ball. And Will Brooks is that guy that he knows the ins and outs of the safety position, the star position, the corner position, and not just the secondary, though. He knows what every single linebacker is supposed to be doing. He knows what every defensive lineman is supposed to be doing on each and every single play. And I do think that being in the right spot, knowing what to do, leading the defense, being the quarterback out there from that safety position, I think that is why he is getting on the field. But Willie Martinez seemed to back it up with his thinking that Will does have ability as well to make plays in space, because that's the key nowadays. You have to be able, as a defensive back, to make plays in space. And it was nice to see Jalen McCullough make a play in space the other day for the Rams. Great play, great tackle, but that is something that he failed to do consistently at the college level, and that is why many folks were very frustrated by the Jalen McCullough experience, and not just Jalen McCullough. There's been several defensive backs over the last 5 to 10 years, really. I mean, we haven't seen strong defensive back play since your teams were playing, Swain.
Cam Sutton and
you've had a couple of good years, but Tennessee, we have not seen consistently good to great defensive back play year in and year out at Tennessee since I feel like your guys are playing.
I mean, Cam Sutton was pretty damn solid, man.
That's one defensive back.
Rashawn
Gallman had a nice year.
Pretty damn solid too. Pretty good.
Yes, but there's been more of a trend with Tennessee's defensive backs that they're all right at college, and then they go to the NFL and get better.
No,
it hasn't been what it should be. So McCullough struggled to make plays in space. That was why he was. It was a frustrating experience at times, and I'm not really just trying to single him out. There's been others as well, which was my point of bringing up what the defensive back room has been. But Willie Martinez seems to believe that Will Brooks will be able to make plays in space, and if that's true, then I think Tennessee's going to probably be more fine at that spot than maybe people realize.
Man, that's the goal. No, that is the goal, my friend. 865-255-03 is our number to the hotline. We'll get back to the Beatty Chevrolet text box. Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. I want to watch him play in Huntsville, man. I want to watch Christian Moore play in Huntsville.
Well, I don't think he's going to make it back to Madison and the Rocket City.
I told you I text you and I put it on Twitter, but my high school teammate's son caught his walk-off home run last week. Really, really cool.
That's
really
incredible.
Cool. Yep, a reminder that not young anymore. 865-255-03. Swain Event fueled by Dead End Barbecue here on a beautiful Tuesday, August the 13th. It's not April. It is August. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the other side. Swain Event. When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go. Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Hey, Vol Nation. This is Charlie Pratt, financial representative with Modern Woodman and MWA Financial Services. Modern Woodman has been touching lives and securing futures for 140 years. Being born and raised here in East Tennessee, I'm honored to help East Tennesseans in all phases of life with retirement planning, investments, and life insurance. A big win on Saturday starts with preparation early in the week. A secure financial future starts with planning today. Contact my office today at 865-919-6468 to review your financial plan and make sure you are on track for success. As always, go Vols.
Registered representative and investment advisor, representative offering securities and advisory services through NWA Financial Services, Inc., a wholly owned subsidiary of Modern Woodmen of America, member of FINCRA, SIPC.
Good morning, Swain Event fam. America's College Sports Town has everything you could want in a lifestyle. You want a cottage home in town or a downtown condo, or maybe you're looking for a home with a pool or a lake property. Well, whatever you want, the Knoxville area has it, and I'm ready to assist when it's time to find what you're looking for. So give me a call, Jennifer Morris, 865-694-5904, or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com, and check out my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Go Vols!
80 saves you money, like a new 24 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab. Save with 5.9% APR financing or pre-owned vehicles starting at $19,995. All makes and models at Beatty Chevrolet.
Just because you can't call in doesn't mean that you have to sit on the sideline. Impact the show with a text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Day at the End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. It's Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. I am Jason Swain, live in the Loeb T Center studio. Let's get to the phones. Tell us who you are. Tell us who you are and where you're calling from. And
hey, good morning, guys.
Oh, it's Turkey Man. Good morning, Turkey Man.
Hey, guys. Hope you guys have a great week. I was going to ask a couple questions real quick if I can. Appreciate you taking my call, by the way. Ben, how come SEMO was overlooked in all the awards he should have received, I feel. And he's doing what he's done all year. He's doing SEMO things and still doing it. And I just don't understand why he was overlooked at the college level. And even the pros, he slipped. He should have been, I think, taken earlier in the draft, but that's just my opinion. That's one of the questions I was going to ask. The other thing I wanted you to talk about a little bit is the communication in the helmet of the quarterback and a defensive player this year. How that would work a lot like the catcher and the pitching coach in baseball. And how do you think that will affect, good or bad, being able to have that in your helmet to the quarterback or in the communication in the helmet with the linebacker, probably, Mike, linebacker, probably. But there's a couple things there I thought I'd ask you guys. And Tony V, is he going to throw out the first pitch tonight? And I'll get out and I'll listen to you guys, and I hope you guys have a great one. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Turkey Man.
Tony V will throw out the first pitch tonight at the Lookouts game. So Tennessee fans in attendance will be able to look forward to that. In terms of why Christian Moore is overlooked this past season, I think a lot of people's opinions were already predetermined and already set on Christian Moore as he began to really catch fire the second half of the season. He had always been a great player, right, during his time at Tennessee as a true freshman, had a really nice sophomore year. He was a highly ranked recruit coming out of high school, could have passed on Tennessee and signed in the draft, but chose to come to school, and that decision obviously worked out for him in a major way. So I think just, you can question his defense at times. There were some questions about how his swing would translate to the next level. And I'm referring to these questions kind of at the beginning of this past season before, of course, he was a great player and then kind of before he became a legendary player. So I think just because of some of those questions that surfaced early in his career, I think people had their opinions already set on him and was predetermined, and then were just reluctant to change their opinion on SEMO as he elevated his game and took his game to the next level. And I don't think that there's any doubt at this point that he was kind of viewed in that next tier behind the Jack Cagliones and the Charlie Condons and Bazana over there at Oregon State or J.J. Weatherhold at West Virginia. But I don't think that there's any doubt that in hindsight that Christian Moore was right there neck and neck. Like it's not 1A, 1B, and then number 3. It's 1A, 1B, 1C with Charlie Condon, Jet Caglione, and Christian Moore. Like he is just as good as those guys and should have received more accolades. In hindsight, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And remember, the draft is quirky. I do think that there are 7 teams ahead of the Angels that would maybe like a redo and maybe reconsider some things. But with Simo, that there were still some questions about how his swing would translate to the next level and how his swing would handle premium pitching consistently at the next level, which is why he wasn't viewed in that same category as those other guys that I just mentioned. And really, Simo went higher than he was being mocked. I mean, he was being mocked in kind of the early teens. And in the draft, you have to remember that they don't draft guys based off of ability first and foremost, and that's the only thing that they consider. They draft guys on signability as well. The Angels knew that Christian Moore would sign for less at the number 8 overall pick, and what that allows the Angels to do, because some teams like to sign players that will sign for less than what the pick is valued at, so they can take that money and use it later in the draft to try and persuade a high school guy or a college guy to sign that isn't viewed as somebody that is likely to sign. And that's what the Angels did. I believe it was $1 million less than what the pick was valued at, that Simo signed for. But Simo knew that ahead of time and agreed to that ahead of time. The Angels would not have drafted Christian Moore at number 8 if they knew that he wasn't going to sign for the undervalued slot that they signed him at. That is predetermined by the agent. So the draft in baseball is very much unlike the NBA and NFL draft, where it's just ability. The rookie contracts are kind of predetermined, preset. The Major League Baseball draft, just as much as overall talent, is signability factored in. And I can't really speak to why Simo didn't go higher than 8 or why teams didn't value him in that top 10 range. But that's really the only reason Simo went in the top 10 to begin with, is because the Angels knew that he would be willing to take less than other guys that could have potentially gone there. It's weird, and it ties your brain up into a pretzel.
Turkey Man's question about the in-helmet communication, I don't see how he could hurt. I think for Tennessee's offense, you want to go fast. So how much do you want to relay the play to Nico, then have Nico relay it to the other 10 guys, when you can just do what you did before and look over and everyone get their responsibility quick, fast, in a hurry. So I don't defensively, it's perfect. It's great because you got to make different checks. It's good to have, someone on the football field that can speak directly to the coach or hear directly what the coach is saying. So I need to probably spend some more time paying attention to that during the scrimmages. I know the first scrimmage is when they tested that in-helmet communication. So I did notice the sounds on the sideline when the coaches are trying to get the attention of the players on the field to give them a call. Those sounds were the same as they have been in the past. So need to pay more attention to that and see how different that's going to be for the offense. And then I think Turkey Man had a baseball question, a football question. The third one,
2 baseball and 1 football.
Yeah.
We got it covered there. We did good there. We did good
All
there,
right,
Swain. The conversation that confuses me as to why it's a conversation is this conversation of, are you going to use the iPads and the tablets on the sideline? Why would you not use the tablets on the sideline? Like, why is this a conversation of, like, to me, am I being too simplistic? Like, why is this a question being asked to the coaches? And like, it's a great resource and beats the chalkboard or the whiteboard that you have on the sideline from the 70s. And here's the other thing, and I realize like the in-helmet communication is different for Tennessee because of how fast they go, and almost like the in-helmet communication can kind of slow down the advantage.
That's
in
what I'm
Tennessee's
thinking. That's what I'm thinking right now.
No,
It
I
may be
agree with you.
different.
Now,
Yeah, it may be different.
I think that maybe Joey Halsley or Josh Heupel can be like, hey, because part of Tennessee's offense is such a numbers game. X amount in the box, run it. X amount on the perimeter, throw it, so on and so forth. Like I do think that Halsley and Heupel can essentially tell Nico right away, okay, throw it out to the perimeter, chuck it deep, things like that. I think that they can help him in that regard, even in going quickly. They can help him count the numbers and allow that to kind of dictate what they do on a play. I do think that, but in terms of the tablets and just generally speaking about the in-helmet communication, the professionals use it. And it's a great tool for them. So why is it a question of how is it going to be a tool at this level? To me, that's been a silly camp and off-season conversation.
I just think it depends on how comfortable that coach is with the new communication and what's best for your players to be able to get the information they need. If it's tablet, then cool, you do that. If it's not, then maybe you hold off. I just think it's really that simple.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, were there times where yourself and your quarterback maybe saw things differently as you were coming back to the sideline after a play and you thought you saw the defensive back do one thing and the quarterback thought the defensive back did a different thing and y'all didn't really have a tool to use to go back and see visual evidence of, okay, well, the safety actually did do this. The corner actually did do this. It was kind of a guessing game and hoping that your coordinator up top in the booth or whoever's up top in the box could help you out. Now you can instantly go to a tablet and be like, no, the receiver was right. No, the quarterback was right. The defensive back did do this. So let's make sure that we don't do that another time.
No, I think you're 100% right when it comes to seeing what the defense is doing. And let's say you have a slant or in breaking route, slant, dig, whatever, and you can tell the coach, hey man, he's really biting on that. He's really driving hard on that, man. I think we can hit him with a double move. Or on the curls and comebacks where we come back down our stem, sometimes it looks like we catching the ball for 5-yard gains. You know how annoying sometimes that can look. Well, you can look at the DB and go, hey man, they're really driving hard, man. We can hit them with a stutter and go. So, I mean, yeah, that's I think where the in-helmet communication can be very, very helpful. 865-255-03 Beatty Chevrolet text box is open. Let's take a look over there and see what's going on with your questions and comments. All right, Benjamin. Let's see what we got here. Ben, how happy were you seeing the Lindsey Nelson press box gone?
Very happy.
Is it gone? Because I saw it was like halfway taken down when I was on campus last week. Is it down now? Somebody
sent me a photo yesterday from the field side to where it was completely gone. You could not see anything else. Now, I am most excited for that stairwell to be gone and the trek up to the press box. I can't wait for that stairwell to be gone. But I believe it's pretty much all gone. I mean, I don't know that you can tear the entire thing down because of the foundation and it's supporting the seats there. And they've had a lot of issues the last several months with all the pipes and the utilities is the professional word to use. Is that that's Pat Summit, right? That street between the football facility and Lindsey Nelson. I believe it is. But that road has given them a lot of issues. I believe not only for the baseball stadium, their renovations over there, but also some of the football renovations as well with the utilities. And there's obviously not a lot of room on campus and just the reconfiguration. And they've just had a lot of hurdles with the utilities underneath that road. And that has slowed them down quite a bit, I do believe. And I'm expecting a public update within the next week or so about what is going to be ready for the upcoming season, what is going to be ready for the 2026 season. I believe the issues the unforeseen issues that they were not expecting with the utilities under that road is causing some delays, and not everything that they wanted done, I don't believe, is going to be done by the start of the season. But they are still going to be able to accomplish some things, and I expect a formal update within the next week or so. But that's what I'm most excited about is is that stairwell coming down. Not a fun stairwell to walk up a 1,000 times a season.
Hunsucker says Tennessee hasn't had an all SEC caliber safety since Jansen Jackson in 2010.
Yeah, and I know that we've kind of mentioned some individuals here. Buck Nasty mentioned Emmanuel Mosley, TK Jr., Nelson from Jackson mentioned Alante Taylor. Tennessee has had good individual.
They went all conference
in the secondary. Yes, to your point. But my point was also, like, as a group, Tennessee has not had consistently strong defensive back play. I mean, there was a secondary there in the Butch era with Cam Sutton and Rashawn Gaulden and some of those guys that formed a nice secondary. But even during the Butch era and some of those good defensive backs, it was, as a group, it was more of maybe a 1 year run at best. So just going back to, I remember coming up as a kid, and I mean, you had Jay Wade and Jonathan Heffney and Jason Allen, and that was me in the mid 2000s. I didn't even get to grow up with the defensive backs in the 90s, in the early 2000s. So that's a position that's been a bugaboo for Tennessee for quite some time now, over multiple head coaches. They just have not, Tennessee has not had consistently strong defensive back play as a unit, I feel like, since your guys were playing.
Well, you haven't had enough. I mean, you haven't had enough at that position, period. Corner, safety, you haven't had enough, which is probably why we've gotten torched by Florida and Alabama and Georgia when they've had really good receivers and really good athletes on the outside. And, you know, when Tennessee had an opportunity there in 2016, you had multiple guys that played next level. You had Rashawn Gaulden. You had, Emmanuel Mosley. You had Cam Sutton. You had multiple players that played at the next level when Tennessee had a chance during that year. So it's no secret. I mean, you got to stop explosive plays. You want to create explosive plays on offense, but you got to have the athletes and the really good players on the outside to do that. So it makes sense. No, it makes sense. That's crazy, Hunsucker, when you put it that way. And Jansen wasn't all SEC because he got in trouble and never really reached his full potential. But that's why Hunsucker said SEC caliber, because he always had the talent. Always had. He
did reach his full potential with the longest yard. I heard he's all cell-based team.
Stetson Bennett threw 4 interceptions. LOL. He threw 4 interceptions for the Rams.
Looked like me playing NCAA football. They were awful interceptions, Swain. I don't know if you saw them, but I mean, it was guys in the middle of the field that were clear as day, their feet firmly in the ground, not moving, and just throwing it right to them.
I ain't gonna say nothing about Stetson because he in the league, and
not for much longer.
He in a better position than our boy.
Hendon Hooker?
Yep. Yeah, he's in a better position. They're talking about moving him. They just signed Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm
isn't going to take Hendon's spot. I haven't heard of Jake Fromm until you just mentioned it for several years. In several years.
There's talk about trading Hendon because his development is not where they thought it would be as a passer.
Yeah, there's the ACL injury, and now this concussion thrown right into the middle of camp for him. The pair of injuries have slowed his development down. There's no doubt about that. But you know who Stetson Bennett doesn't have anything on?
Who's that?
The great Josh Dobbs, who continues to be a menace in the preseason. All right, and listen here. Oh, you want to talk about Joe Milton? What you guys say about Joe Milton, Swain?
He did a good job.
Yeah, he did. Stetson did it.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm telling you, Stetson's gonna be all right though.
Stetson's not going to be all right. Stetson was away from the Rams for basically all of last season because of personal issues, which hope those personal issues get sorted out. Don't wish any ill will there. But he has not been a good NFL quarterback in the preseason, on the practice squad. He ain't gonna last in the NFL. I'll tell you that right now.
He might not, but man, it's
go watch those highlights.
I saw him.
Go watch them again.
I saw him.
They were bad.
He's learning from another Georgia quarterback who throws a lot of interceptions, who's a starter on that team, and he turned out to be okay. So
I would be surprised if Stetson sticks around for much longer, even as a practice squad guy, the third quarterback that gets to dress out but isn't technically active unless somebody gets hurt. I would be surprised if Stetson sticks around. I think he's run his course.
If he's okay mentally, I think he'll be okay. Like, there's no reason why he can't be Tyler Bray. There's no reason why he can't be Josh Dobbs if mentally he is, in a good place. With his, I want to say it was, it don't matter.
Alcohol.
Yeah, it was alcohol. But if that's under control, like his pure skills, he can play at that level. Now, I ain't gonna say he's gonna be a starter, but he is a guy that can be on a roster for the next couple of years. Yeah, we need Joe Milton to do his thing. We need Hendon Hooker to do his thing. I think it's good for Tennessee, and for Hendon to be in the middle of trade discussions. There's been talk about him being traded. That's not ideal. I think if you're Tennessee and you want to not only recruit at a high level, which Tennessee is doing more of right now, but have dudes at the next level making plays. That's kind of the next step for this program on top of winning. Speaking of recruiting, we are a couple days away from David Sanders making his announcement official. He's going to make that announcement on 247 Sports. What was that? What time is that? Is that noon on Saturday?
I do not know off the top of my head. I thought it was. You give me 2 seconds. I'll let you keep talking as I pull up a tweet from yesterday.
I bet I can find it faster than you. I found it.
1:15 Eastern.
To 1:15 Eastern. So he'll be doing that on 247 Sports, and no reason for me to feel like Tennessee is not in a really good spot. I think Tennessee is good to go. Anything can happen. We've seen it before, but I think Tennessee's in a good spot. Agree, disagree, Benjamin?
I agree.
Okay.
We have two good camp questions for you here on the text box from Nealon Mafia. He wants to know if it's really a three-man battle for the starting tight end, or is a front runner starting to emerge? And then Dustin Vol 71, what are two things you want to see improve from the first scrimmage to the second scrimmage?
I saw different tight ends getting first team reps. So I think all three of those guys are really interchangeable. To answer that one, then what I want to see more of, I would like to see us run the ball a little bit better in the second scrimmage. I'd like to see us hit some shots down the field. I want to see more guys available to be able to participate. I mean, I think it's important for Dylan Sampson not to be out there. I understand that. But when you look at someone like Dante Thornton, when you look at some other guys that haven't put in the production that Dylan Sampson has put in, you kind of want to see more what they can do. But maybe you know what he can do, and you're okay with him, taking another scrimmage to rest and heal up. I want to have a better understanding of who is going to be that star between Christian Harrison and Boo Carter. I like Jordan Matthews. Like when I go to practice and I see something that I like, I don't need anyone to tell me anything. Like I know what I like. I know what a good play is. So I said that about Chaz Nimrod, and I ain't backing down from it. Do I think he's going to start over Squirrel? No, but I don't think it matters. I think Chaz is one of the top 3 most complete receivers that we have. And if he starts, that ain't on me. I'm just telling you who I think is the best 3 receivers. So,
do you think that he will be? There's a theory that I do not agree with, but there's a theory that Chaz is not one of the 4 receivers locked into playing time right now, and that to me
that's a lie.
That baffles me.
That's a lie. Yeah, that's a lie. If Chaz is not one of the top 4 receivers, then I have some serious questions. Serious questions.
Yes.
He don't drop balls. He's fast. He got behind defense on Friday.
He's versatile.
There's no diva to him. He works his butt off. He ain't scrawny anymore. Dude's 220 pounds. He's 6'3", and he runs a 4.4, and he doesn't drop passes. And he can change directions and run good routes. I mean, and I told Wade, I was like, tell me which receiver you think look good. Like, who you like? He was like, yeah, I see what you're seeing with Chaz. I was like, I told you. And Jay Wade used to be a receiver, so he knows what it's supposed to look like. So, Squirrel, when they do individuals, it's Brew first, it's Squirrel second. That's kind of the pecking order. I don't know who goes third, but I know what I see, and I see a dude that can do everything that you ask him to do. And Brew has developed more into a guy that can be more of a deep threat because he is faster, he's quicker, he's more lean, and so this group got a chance to be good. But anyone that's saying that Chaz Nimrod's not a top 4 receiver, I don't know what you're looking at.
The theory is that there are 5 locked into playing time.
Says who?
Brew. It says
locked.
It says associates. Locked into playing time. Brew, Squirrel, Brazzle, and these are the 2 that I raised my eyebrow at. Thornton and Matthews.
Oh, okay. I'm moving on. That's silly. Chaz is in that 5 for my eyeballs. If he's not, something's wrong. Camden, Tennessee Vol says, didn't Hendon have issues throwing every pass in college, though, too? I.e. middle of the field, he tore up outside and had a great deep ball he could run, but that has been an issue. Damn, Camden got a good memory.
I also think we should pump the brakes on Hendon a little bit. I mean, the guy's coming off of a torn ACL. His first action in a game was this past weekend, and like within a handful of plays after assaulting somebody in New York City when he ran over that poor defensive back, he had a concussion. So, like, I get that the Lions are a little frustrated by how things are coming along slowly, but I don't think that means that even if the Lions chose to move on from Hendon, like I don't think that would be indicative of Hendon's career being over with. Like, he hasn't had time to develop, it doesn't seem. From the outside looking in, I'm obviously not covering the Lions and I'm not there every single day, but it just doesn't seem like he's had a lot of time to develop as an NFL quarterback because he's been rehabbing.
Man, he's been healthy for a while. He's been healthy enough to throw for a while. And this is one of the knocks on him with the draft is because he was old. And so he's 26. when you have a young player like Anthony Richardson who has the explosiveness, he has the tools, you feel like you have time to develop him. With Hendon, you feel like he should already be at a certain level. Notice the orange and white game, Nico throwing the ball in the middle of the football field more than we have in the last 3 seasons. That includes Joe and 2 years with Hendon. The reason why, and no one's going to say it publicly from campus because it's all positive. I mean, you don't want it to seem like you throwing anybody in the bus, but you got to tell the truth. And it's not to throw any of those guys under the bus or throw shade at them. I thought Hype and company did a good job of playing to a player's strengths. Well, you didn't see a lot of passes across the middle with Hooker and Milton, and I think there was a reason for that. But at the NFL level, they're not going to protect you from throwing the ball across the middle. You got to throw every pass. You got to make every throw. And they're not just evaluating him on the game; they're evaluating him in practice. So obviously, there's a disconnect at practice since he's been cleared and able to practice. And remember, you can't touch the quarterback anyways, but he's doing all his drops. He's making all the throws in practice. And so he's had a lot of time to prove whether or not he could be the number 2 guy. And there's conversations, according to article up there in Michigan, that they're exploring bringing in a different quarterback. Well,
I mean, that was one story in the offseason, and I follow Colton Pouncey, who covers the Lions for The Athletic, and he was excited to see Hendon heading into the preseason because he felt like, or the first preseason game, because he felt like Hendon was having a fairly strong camp. So
we'll see how Fromm.
Jay Fromm that doesn't mean anything to me.
What you talking about? Don't mean anything to you. They signed a dude that I didn't think was playing in football anymore.
And he's not going to – he won't make the Lions roster. I guarantee you he won't make the Lions roster. It's not like they signed Teddy Bridgewater or Zach Wilson or some veteran Ryan Tannehill. Like, if they signed Ryan Tannehill, okay, then that would make me raise my eyebrow. Because if they're signing Ryan Tannehill, that means that they're signing him to be the backup to Jared Goff. Jake Fromm is not indicative in a positive way or a negative way about Hendon Hooker's future with the Lions. It's not. If they sign a veteran backup, okay, different story. But Jake Fromm, no.
You shouldn't have conflicting stories, man, period. You shouldn't have conflicting stories on Hendon's status.
I know, but that was my point. Was that was a little earlier in the offseason, if I remember correctly, and there's been a little more positive buzz. I'm not saying that Hendon's going to turn into an all-pro quarterback.
That's not the point. That's not the point. We're not talking about all-pro. We're talking about being a number 2 option that is trusted if Jared Goff goes down. And if the Lions don't feel like he can be a trusted number 2, they're going to trade him or they're going to sign other people. And so if there's a report saying they're concerned, and there's another report saying, oh, no, there's no concern, that's still conflicting. And for a Tennessee fan who wants to see Hendon do well at the next level because it'd be good for Josh Heupel, that is a little concerning. I'm not going to just totally dismiss it when Hendon has yet to do anything from the pocket as a pro quarterback. He hasn't done anything yet. He's made good runs, but he hasn't done anything from the pocket just yet. And so that's my concern. That's all.
There was some positive buzz on Hendon going into the first preseason game.
From the pocket?
What's that?
From the pocket? Throwing the ball from the pocket?
I mean, it was just general, like, play in camp. I didn't see the specifics of it.
But
I would assume that entails being able to operate the offense in that manner and not just being able to run around.
Dude, they not talking about trade and signing quarterbacks if everything was peachy.
I agree with you, but Jake Fromm is not the guy, right?
It don't matter. It don't matter if he's the guy or not. It's the fact that they did it.
The teams in August bring in quarterbacks and cut quarterbacks left and right daily. Like signing Jake Fromm is not indicative of Hendon's future. If they were to sign a veteran quarterback, as I mentioned, that would be more indicative of
My
Hendon's
point is
future.
there's
Jake Fromm's
conflicting
not impacting
stories about
Hendon's future.
Hendon's availability as the number 2 guy.
And they probably signed Jake Fromm because they have a roster spot with Hendon being in concussion protocol.
Probably.
And they wanted to fill that roster spot for the upcoming preseason game.
Probably.
Or to fill reps in practice.
Probably.
Because,
but why is there a report about Hendon not being trusted to be the number 2 guy? That's not smoke. It's coming from somewhere.
I mean, you're referring to one story from somebody who I'd never heard of before.
Okay.
I mean, that's the truth.
Okay.
Look, Hendon may not work out. I'm just saying, I think it's a little early.
He just played, man. He just played a couple of days ago. What you mean it's early? He just played. He's been on the roster for months. He's been training for months. It's not too early. They need to know if he is the number 2 guy or not.
Well, the Lions, then they should not have drafted him. They drafted an older quarterback who they knew was coming off of a torn ACL. If they knew that they were going to need an answer on him as quick as can be, then that's on them for drafting him because they weren't going to get an answer on him as quick as can be.
It's not quick, man. He's 26. Like he has to.
And
he has to
just
play
got
now.
cleared from ACL rehab. It is quick.
Okay, I'm moving on. 865 255 03. Hopefully Hendon is in a good spot, but it don't. I don't feel the same as I did a couple months ago. Any chance we see 5 receiver set being all the good receivers we have? I don't see a 5 receiver set happening a lot because number 1, it puts more pressure on your offensive line. Number 2, are you going to run 5 receiver set out of a timeout and just run it all the way until the possession changes, or you get another break-in play or a field goal or a touchdown? We have not had a 5 receiver set since Josh Heupel has been here, and I don't think we're good enough at wide receiver to have a 5 receiver set. I don't think we're there yet. But even if we were, you can't put pressure like that on your offensive line. You got to have the ability to run the football. This is not a air raid offense. This is a run first offense. This is a offense that will spread you out, and it's a high tempo offense. You got to run the football. And so I don't know how you're going to run the football with 5 receivers because somebody got to block somebody. And Brew's a good blocker at receiver. Squirrel could be better as a blocker. I don't know about Brazel, but Brazel is long and lanky, explosive. I don't know how good he would be as a blocker. Haven't really seen him in action blocking. I did see him do a special teams drill, but don't know how he would be blocking in the game. Who your other top? I think Caleb Well would be a pretty good blocker. But the fact is, you're just not going to do 5 receiver sets because the offensive line will basically be in no man's land. You got to have a tight end in there that can help block. Let's see here. Will we see the black curtain guys in the different colored jersey guys on the sidelines since the headsets are in the helmets now? I don't know. I don't know 100% that. And I'm not going to hold my breath for Josh Heupel to update the world on what he's planning on doing offensively. Like, he's not going to do that. I feel like we'll find out when we find out.
No, it would be silly to give away that secret. That is something that college coaches are too paranoid nowadays and act as if everybody does not already understand their system. But that is something that should be secretive.
Yeah, I don't see why he would change anything offensively, what he's doing, because it's fast and it's quick. Any change, I feel like will slow things down. Now, I may be wrong, but just really trying to think this thing through. Why change anything? You've been 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you were either 1 or 2 in tempo. Ole Miss, and then 22, you were top 5 in tempo too. Last year it was a little bit different because you didn't have Cooper, and just things were different. So you want to be up there, top 5 in terms of tempo. All right, we'll get to the phones. We got to take another timeout. We will do that, and then we will return with a phone call. 865-255-03 is our telephone number. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
You're listening to the Swain Event.
And you know this, man.
Here in Knoxville, we love it when a squirrel's in the checkerboards. But when there's a squirrel in our attic, that's all sides. When that happens, call Alpha Wildlife. They're Knoxville's veteran-owned and operated wildlife removal company. When unwanted critters put their feet up on your coffee table, call 865-224-6555. Let the Tennessee fans at Alpha Wildlife evict those unwanted tenants and set your home up with a winning defense to keep that wildlife where it belongs. That's Alpha Wildlife at 865-224-6555. They have locations in Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, and in parts of South Carolina. Check them out online at alphawildlife.com.
Hey, what's up? It's Jason Swain. Guys, if you're only middle-aged but wondering why it seems harder to keep up, man, you are not alone. It may be caused by low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. But not just any TRT, not those websites offering only basic treatments and at the prices that sound way too good to be true. See the provider specialists at Low T Center. They offer advanced, personalized treatments with over a decade of experience. At Low T Center, you'll and get your results back in 25 minutes. So go to the website, lowtcenter.com, to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
80 saves you money, like a new 24 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab. Save with 5.9% APR financing, or pre-owned vehicles starting at $19,995. All makes and models at Beatty Chevrolet.
What's up, Swain Event crew? Always happy to be with my friends in the morning. So, everybody has a next chapter in life, right? And sometimes that includes a move. Your next page may have a growing family, or maybe an empty nest, or possibly a move back home. When the time comes, I'll be here to help. Just give me a call. Jennifer Morris, Keller Williams Realty, 865-694-5904, and check out my website, nextmovesmokymountains.com. As always, go Vols!
Looking for a different way to enjoy the show?
Yes!
Then check out Swain Event TV on YouTube.
Let's get to the phones, 865-255-03. Good morning. Good morning. Who we got there? All right. Going once, going twice. Next.
Jake Fromm is there, boys.
There we go. Who we got there?
I said, like a bad neighbor, Jake Fromm is there.
Oh, man, this has got to be Vol Storm. Woo.
Yeah.
The levels were hitting red.
See what? Oh, it's in the red?
The levels.
Good.
Turn you down a little bit. Good to hear from you, man.
Boys, it's good to hear from you, too. I tell you what, I need y'all to alleviate some of my concerns.
Okay.
Linebacking core. How are we looking in the linebacking core?
I like the starters.
Keenan Peely did not go Friday. I didn't see an issue with the linebackers because offensively they didn't have any success running the football. I did see Ethan Davis have a good play, but like he's special. Like he's super athletic. I don't have any concerns with the linebackers. I think they'll be good. I think they'll be better than they were last year. That's all I got for you at this very, very moment. They haven't been exposed much during fall camp.
Is that because of opportunity, or is that just because they are playing that good?
It may be both, Volstorm. I mean, it may be because they're playing that good. I think it's, Dylan Sampson hasn't gone. He didn't go in the first scrimmage, and then you didn't have 3 out of your 5 potential starters on the offensive line, and so it's hard to get a good look at your running backs when the offensive line is so beat up, and then linebackers, they looked like they were doing a good job stopping the run because the run was non-existent, and then offensively didn't have any explosive plays in the linebacker zones, and so it's hard for me to sit here and go concerned about the linebackers because they look good to me.
Well, that leads me into my next concern, which is what have we got behind Dylan Sampson?
Well, that's going to be right now. That's going to be Deshaun Bishop, and it's going to be Peyton Lewis until Cam Selden is cleared, and then you have Khalifa Keith. But I do think Bishop and Lewis will have a better opportunity to be in that second spot and get playing time over Keith. I don't know about you, Ben, but that's how I feel.
Well, I was going to tell Volstorm, going back to the linebackers real quick, Arion Carter, stud.
Yeah.
Big time dude. He just moves around different, and he is very vocal. I would be surprised if he does not have a big year next to Keenan Peely. With the running backs, Volstorm, I think that Selden, Bishop, and Lewis are all going to be really good football players for Tennessee. I get the feeling that they're almost like a year away from truly being ready. So how quickly can those guys step up and contribute consistently? I think their ceiling and their potential, there's a lot of it, but I just wonder, okay, when do they reach that status of truly being able to contribute game in, game out? You know what you're going to get from them game in, game out, just because they're so young.
Well, the problem is this is the SEC, and starting running backs get banged up all the time.
Facts.
I mean, technically, Dylan Sampson is already banged up, and I feel comfortable saying that's already out there. He tweaked his knee a little bit last week. Nothing to freak out about. Nothing to be overly concerned. But
somebody get on Twitter and hit the panic button.
Please do not do that, or please do not take that to the message board either, which it should already be on the message boards anyway. But they are treating, this was honestly my biggest takeaway from when we were talking about the scrimmage earlier. They are truly treating this like an NFL preseason, and they should, because although technically you're only guaranteed 12 games, and if you don't make the playoffs, it doesn't matter. But you could, whoever wins the national championship could play 17 games, and you do have to manage these guys different than you ever have before. You have to try and preserve them more than you ever have before. And some of these veterans are being treated as if they are TJ Watt, as if they are Cam Hayward, Minkah Fitzpatrick. And that should be the case, Volstorm. And I think Dylan Sampson falls into that category of just being super cautious, managing him like he is fragile for my Christmas movie watchers out there. And they should be doing that, because they could end up playing a lot of football if they make the playoffs. And he is somebody that has to be a piece to the puzzle.
Yeah. Well, guys, before I go, Swain, it was good to hear that story about your friend's kid catching the home run from SEMO, but it just goes to show once again that your hometown is Huntsville, Alabama.
SEMO! The tone there at the end was good. Swain, let me read you this. I'm not going to inflict my opinion whatsoever, but to put a bow on the Hendon conversation, let me read you this. Colton Pouncey, who I referenced, who does a great job of covering the Lions for The Athletic, he released a 53-man roster projection yesterday coming out of the first preseason game. And for quarterbacks, he lists Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker, Nate Sudfeld as QB3. No mention of Jake Fromm. And
he
on
was
Hendon
signed yesterday.
On Hendon, Jake Fromm's not making the Lions roster. He's just not. Nate Sudfeld.
I didn't say he was.
That was my, like, the Nate Sudfelds of the world are the ones that Hendon has to worry about taking that backup quarterback spot from him. But I'm sharing what he said about Hendon and kind of the state of where Hendon is with the Lions. Hooker, now dealing with a concussion, is the high upside option and has shown flashes, but the consistency isn't there. Considering this is his first full season, that's okay. But I think this is trending toward a three-man room. And in his opinion, it consists of Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker, Nate Sudfeld. So that seems to be kind of a good synopsis of where Hendon and that Lions quarterback room is at currently. So good. I feel like that's pretty good insight. I mean, and like, I don't disagree with you. Like, the clock is ticking for Hendon. There is no doubt about that. And I would be lying to you if I say I felt optimistic about him, sticking with the Lions or even potentially becoming a starting quarterback one day. I just, my only thing was that let's see how the rest of the preseason it plays out and how he bounces back from this concussion. That was my only thing.
MLive.com, Dan Campbell, huh?
Who is that?
Okay. MLive.com says, it's a quote from Dan Campbell. Honestly, we don't know where he is going to be in terms of the protocol. He's not going to be out today. We probably won't have him tomorrow. And so if it's looking less like we'll have him in practice this week until Friday, getting ready for the Chiefs, and that's not a guarantee yet. Until he obviously clears concussion protocol, we're on hold with him. So that'll kind of play itself out. This article was from Sunday, the 11th, and it goes on to say that Hendon has been up and down throughout camp, making great plays with his arm and feet, but also prone to big mistakes. He continues to alternate second-team reps with veteran Nate Sudfeld and came off the bench behind Sudfeld against New York. So he came off the bench healthy in the preseason game and was number 3 quarterback. That's all I'm saying. It's a worrisome situation.
No, I agree. And I mean, I think it is more likely that Hendon Hooker is Josh Dobbs at the next level than he is bona fide starting quarterback. Or even, I mean, I think he's more Josh Dobbs than a backup quarterback that gets to stick with a team for a couple of years at a time. I think he's going to be more of a journeyman, and I think he's going to have his moments to where he kind of captivates people like Dobbs has. I mean, I think it's much more likely that he has Dobbs' career than becomes a full-time starting quarterback.
If he could be Tyrod Taylor, that would be awesome.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor, Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, that would be awesome
like
for him.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I caught that too real deep from the 423. Says being naming all these veteran stealing players. We're going to set Heupel's bar to being over 500 like Tomlin.
Hey, look,
He's
the only Steelers team I follow during training camp, or the only NFL team I follow during training camp, is the Steelers. I do see a lot of Titans talk on my timeline, though, and I doubt that Titans fans listening want to get into Jeffrey Simmons arguing with radio hosts, Arden Key being caught for taking steroids, and all the drama that has taken place at Titans camp. DeAndre Hopkins looking good, gets banged up, and then Traylon Burks is looking good, and then the next day he still can't catch his breath after running 10 yards. I mean, I didn't think anybody wanted me to list off those veterans. And I'm joking. I like the Titans when they're not playing the Steelers. So,
Mike,
me please.
Mike from Collier says, "Are you surprised they did not hold Cooper Mays out of scrimmage?" No, because you had 3 other guys that were being held out of scrimmage. You had the 2 tackles, and Campbell and Hurd, and then you had what's my man left on the left guard?
Andre Carrick.
Andre Carrick, who always seems to have something going on, and unable to go. So you can't have 4 dudes out, and plus you need your center. But they did take him out. They took him out. He didn't go the whole entire time. So they took him out for precautionary reasons.
And I like it. Look, you need to bubble wrap him don't push it too much. But something that I communicated last August after his injury that he suffered, I believe, in the first scrimmage last fall camp, if I remember correctly, was that if he could receive contact before he returns to play, allow him to receive contact, because that is so critical for an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, in my opinion. So although I recognize you need to wrap him up and treat him like he is fragile, also it is good to see an offensive lineman getting some contact and physical work in.
Let's see what else is on the box, the Beatty Chevrolet text box, before we wrap up today's program. Chip Payne says, getting a ton of lashing at the break. Being communicated through text during the show, and that did not happen. We gonna disagree.
I didn't say anything crazy. I just said, hey, let's let the rest of the preseason play out. I'm concerned for Hendon, just like Swain is. Jake Fromm is not taking Hendon Hooker's job. Nate Sudfeld
You stuck on that. You stuck on that.
Because that's how absurd that point was. Jake Fromm.
I never said that Jake Fromm was taking his spot. I said that they're concerned, which is why they bringing another quarterback in. I just read you how Hendon was a third quarterback off the, on the depth chart, went in after Sudfeld in the preseason game. You're stuck on the wrong stuff.
Read me the sentence that involved Jake Fromm.
There's no sentence here. He was just signed yesterday. They signed him because Hendon is unable to go because he's hurt. He was hurt when he first got to the Lions. So these are two injuries that's keeping him from playing. I just read off the part where Hendon was behind Sudfeld in the preseason game and how they've been splitting second-team reps. It didn't say Hendon get second-team reps and then Sudfeld get third-team reps. It said they're splitting second-team reps, and that is a reason to be concerned. You're not slick, man.
Hendon needs to be worried about the Lions signing Nathan Peterman, Jarrett Garantano. I mean, all of these other.
No, he needs to be worried about splitting second-team reps.
I mean, I just, again, I don't know that Hendon is a starting quarterback at the next level.
He don't have to be a starting quarterback. He's splitting second-team reps.
I know. I'm saying that, like,
all of them.
I'm agreeing with you. I share the same concern in that regard.
But you try to move the goalposts. I ain't say anything about being a starter. I ain't say anything about, Jake Fromm's going to take his spot. I'm talking about his ability to be the second-team quarterback, and that's in question.
It seemed from my vantage point that you were insinuating that Hendon needed to worry about Jake Fromm. I apologize if I misinterpreted you.
I'm going back. Dealer Mafia, I wish I can tell you that you're number one in sign language. But I won't do that. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the greatest level of concern about the offensive production, I don't have any concern about the production right now. We've completed one scrimmage with Brew McCoy out, with Chris Brazel out. Those are your two starting receivers. You had your two starting tackles out. That's 4. You had Carrick out. That's 5 starters. You had Dylan Sampson out. That's 6. So more than half of your starters offensively were out for the first scrimmage. I can't sit here and be concerned at all about anything offensively. Now, I'm concerned about Jordan Thomas being hurt for the season, but like offensively, I'm not concerned about production because Tennessee's going up against Tennessee in practice, and this defensive line is nasty. It's nasty. We talking 12, 14 deep, y'all. 12, 14 deep. Like I was having a real conversation with two dudes at the end of the scrimmage about comparing the defensive line to 2001 defensive line for different reasons. Like you're not getting a pair like Albert Hainsworth and John Henderson. Like you ain't getting that. But the depth, the ability to go 12. I don't think they were going 12. 0-1. They didn't have to dominate, but they didn't go 12. This team can go 12 on the defensive line. So we were comparing the defensive front for this upcoming team to the 2001 team, a team that should have played for a national championship. But that's what this offense is going up against every day. Good luck, offensive line. You will be battle tested, that's for sure. You will be battle tested. All right. Chattanooga, game is tonight. What time is the game? Tony Vitello throwing out the first pitch?
Correct. Game is at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. SEMO meeting with the media a little earlier in the day, hoping I can grab him off to the side.
He's gonna big time you.
I think you'll have some news on the timeline shortly as well regarding Tennessee athletics. So keep an eye out for some stuff here shortly.
Here in about 20 minutes or so.
Yes. Sounds like you already know.
Correct.
Nothing crazy whatsoever, but
it's a big deal.
I think it is a big deal, but I think it's a really neat initiative that Tennessee Athletics is partnering to do. So that Swain and I are not allowed to talk about it just yet. So we'll be talking about it here shortly. I'm sure Josh and Swain will have 3 hours of it coming up. So be sure to listen to Josh and Swain on 99.1 from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern. They'll have full coverage of it, I'm sure.
Good guess, Ben. Good guesses. You're a good guesser. Good guesser.
That's why I'm the backup producer to the show.
Not anymore. You got demoted. You're not even that anymore.
I know.
Hey, the summer's over. It's time to get ready for school to start. Well, it's here. Ain't no time to get ready because it's already here. The kids are back to school, but you can leave the homework to Hiller. A couple offers that I think you would love, homeowners. It's their back-to-school special, back-to-school savings with offers like drain cleaning for $99, high-efficiency HVAC systems, $500 off, new tankless water heaters, also $500 off, and whole home generators, $1,000 off. Visit the website, happyhiller.com, for more details. And then if you don't have a home and you're looking to get a home, then Jennifer Morris can help you get a home. Ben McKee, you have an awesome experience with Jennifer. You bought 2 homes with her guidance and her leadership, and she's helped you while your wife was pregnant and you had a son that was under 2 years old. And so Jennifer Morris took a lot of the pressure off the McKee family. And so if you're looking to buy, looking to sell, you're looking to invest in real estate, Jennifer Morris, that is your go-to. And I would not be surprised if we see Jennifer Morris down there in Chattanooga popping up, showing some love to Christian Moore.
Well, we know Jennifer will be down there to see Tony Vitello. That would be the reason that Jennifer heads down that way. But I'll leave it at this. I would tell everybody that I trust Jennifer with all of my real estate needs and encourage you to do the same. There have been some Tennessee baseball assistants returning to Knoxville. And when I have communicated with them recently for some stories that I have coming down the pike, I have said, hey, if you need any help with real estate, I know somebody, Jennifer Morris of Keller Williams Realty. And so I trust Jennifer enough to spread the good word about her great work. I put my reputation on the line by recommending Jennifer. So obviously, if I trust her enough to do that, then you should trust her for all of your real estate needs as well. It's that cut and dry. Anybody moving into town, recruits, transfers, coaches moving in and out of town, I say, hey, reach out to Jennifer Morris of Keller Williams Realty. She'll take great care of you. And they say, you know what? That's a great idea. Send me her contact information, and I send them her contact information.
It's that simple. It's that easy. Ben McKee, Go Off 247. I'm Jason Swain. That is the Swain event for today. So go check us out wherever you get your podcast. That is brought to you by Beatty Chevrolet as well. BeattyChevrolet.com. Ben McKee, Go Off 247. I'm Jason Swain, live from the Low T Center Studio. Hope you have a great day and a blessed day. Peace and love. We are out.